Hey there, friends and enemies. JoPaWrites here once again, and today I've got a brand new writer's thoughts for you guys. This is where I talk about all those geeky, fun, gaming, streaming things that you love, and so do I. So today is a very special episode. We have our first guest in the house, ElmmerFuddGames, one of my favorite people of all time. How you doing, brother?
Stop. I'm fantastic, my dude. How are you?
I am great. We're recording this on New Year's Eve, so if you hear fireworks in the background, I'm just going to leave them in. It's going to be festive. You know how we do.
Yeah,
So,
I like that.
we got talking a little bit beforehand. We met at Guardian Con.
Yeah,
And
was
one of the
last year? Yeah, last year.
yeah, one of the best experiences that I've had in a long time.
Best
And
hug, hands down.
oh my
Hands
god,
down.
it was so good. We kind of melded
I could
beards
have held
a
you
little bit.
forever.
Oh, it was
Yeah, we became one person for a hot 10 minutes.
I am getting hot and bothered. You might need to calm that down a little bit, or we won't finish this podcast.
My bad.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. What games you into? What do you do? What are your interests? What's good?
Oh man. Well, for me, I am everything. I play way too many games.
Same.
Anyone that follows the streaming, yeah, that's actually Jopa's a great. If you like how Jopa's channel set up, where it's something different all the time, then you'll like what's happening over on mine. Like we're playing World of Warcraft, we're playing Red Dead Online, we're playing Star Citizen, we're playing, what's the game called? Just had a brain farts on my. There we go. Deep Rock Galactic.
It's just whatever tickles your
everything,
fancy. I feel that.
Whatever tickles my fancy. Yeah. My fancy gets tickled a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm exactly the same way, and I think that's why we connected so hard. But no innuendos here. That's not what we do. Just kidding.
Sorry.
That's all we do. All right. So,
Unless you want to just be, we don't have to innuendo it. We can just straight up say, JoPaWrites, you give me a boner. Is that okay?
that's fantastic, and I
right, good.
don't think you're the only one that feels that way. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. I know, listeners, I know there's some of you that'll let me know how you really feel.
Yeah.
So, it's been a weird 2020, and kicking off a podcast this year I thought was a good time to kind of hop into it, because just get away from all the insanity of what's happening out in the world. And I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I've talked to you about it. You're one of the people that allowed me on your podcast very early on. And
I actually just listened to that episode the other day to like prep myself.
It's
So,
crazy.
all right, listening to Jopa talk. What we got? What are the rhythms? What are the rhymes? You know? Oh,
No.
it was a good show. It was a good episode, man.
It was so much fun, and it kind of sparked an interest that I've kind of waited for a long time. Like, is this the right time? Should I do it? But at the end of the day, 2020 has taught me you just got to jump on the things that you really dig, and that's why I'm gonna be jumping on you next time I see you. So, what are some things from 2020 though that have actually gone well for you? What are things that you've been really excited about in 2020 that you're looking back and like, man, I can't believe, one, that this actually happened, and 2020 has been such a long year, but that I actually brought a bit of joy from it?
Well, anyone who doesn't know, Jopa's been a part of them, but I run tournaments every month for Call of Duty Warzone and then Apex Legends.
Amazing.
And 2020 has been a fantastic year for those. Seeing the growth that has happened with these just free tournaments I threw together, like watching them become what they are. The Shoutcast is like my best numbers by far when I'm streaming, and nothing else I do comes close to when we're shoutcasting these tournaments. But watching that grow, how many new teams are coming in, people. We actually had to set up like LFG groups in the Discords for the tournaments for the first time ever, because there's so many people that are just like, hey, I don't care, I just want to play. Like, let's just get together and get in this thing. And a lot of people that are like, I don't have anyone, I'm just going to solo it, you know. But just seeing this grow and take off the way it has been just a huge blessing. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. I love watching them. I can't participate as often as I'd like,
I know.
unfortunately, due to
And
scheduling
that
problems.
angers me. I miss
But
you.
I
I miss
love
you.
watching them. I always, if I don't watch the whole thing live, I definitely go back and check it out on YouTube. And it's been so much fun to watch your growth as a shoutcaster, as you learn to kind of go with the flow of the game and not like talk over the hot moments, but like make the jokes at the right time. It's been so great. And that's going back to the podcast thing. It's like stepping out of what might have been your comfort zone with streaming other things and doing this shoutcasting is amazing. That's something I think more people should do with their
Yeah,
content creation. Whatever unique idea, whatever thing they have to bring to the table that works really well, just run with it.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Any chance you can to like anytime I've learned in streaming, anytime I've stepped out of my comfort zone, is made everything way better.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's definitely a good thing to do.
I
Definitely.
definitely agree. And in 2021, I think that's something that I'm really 100% focused on. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that. Okay, I'm just gonna go live. I'm gonna grind it out and do the thing, and that's fun and all. But like, there is at the end of the day, there is something about bringing your own unique flair and doing something that is different or exciting and makes it fun for people to watch and get invested in. So yeah, I think jumping out of the comfort zone is obviously something that you and I have both embraced and advocated. So I'm very excited to see where that leads in 2021.
Yeah, and like you said, and I've definitely noticed like my comfort level is the range I have of being comfortable in that situation. I am someone that has insane, horrible anxieties all the time. So at first doing these was like just absolutely terrifying, and so being to a point where I'm like, hey, I get a shoutcast tonight, and I'm not terrified. I'm actually very excited. This is a good feeling.
Yeah, and that's I think what a lot of people miss is more people have that anxiety, that level of stress when they try new things than you might think overall. Like there's a lot of people who even you look at some of the bigger names in content creation when they started probably had those same levels, same fears, and I think
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
just something that you just need to sit down and bite the bullet and jump on.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at if you step out of your comfort zone into something, and you realize you like that something, the more you do it, that thing becomes part of your comfort zone. And the more often you step out into other things, your comfort zone just grows and grows and grows until you're a much more expanded person.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yes, that's definitely the way to go.
definitely huge, definitely huge. So shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about 2021. So we kind of have not really seen all that's coming out, whether it's gaming, movies, whatever, in 2021. But what are some things that you're kind of looking forward to that you've seen so far that you're kind of stoked about?
Yeah, I was looking this up a little bit pre-show, and there's a new Lego Star Wars game coming out that I didn't know about, which is exciting. I love Lego games.
Yeah,
It's the Skywalker trilogy, I
nice.
guess, or I don't know what they're calling it.
Lots of Star Wars
But
next year in total.
yeah, oh, yeah. Disney Plus if you don't
Oh
have
my
Disney Plus in 2021, you're doing 2021 wrong. That's all I'm gonna say.
I-
There's so much whether you're Marvel fan, regular Disney stuff, Star Wars, like, yeah, obviously, the Book of Boba Fett is going to be
So good.
mind blowing.
Oh my god.
And so that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
But, Space Jam, supposedly that's happening next year. The
Yeah.
new Space Jam
I'm
movie
very
with, what's his bucket?
LeBron. I'm very
With
interested.
LeBron, yeah.
It's so weird thinking about that because there's so many things like TV shows, movies, etc. that are being rebooted that I just ask why. Like why not? I don't know. I wonder if will it be a complete reboot or will it be more like tied in to the same universe? I don't know. It's so
Yeah, same.
weird.
It's kind of like, I mean, I'm doing the best I can looking at, like, trying to find any images or anything, but it looks like it might just be a straight up reboot.
Yeah, which is the hilarious part to me is for those who are not basketball fans, tune out for like 2 minutes. But you have LeBron compared to Michael Jordan for his entire career on who the best is, greatest of all time, etc. And now you've got them both doing Space Jam, and it's just
Right.
you wonder how much of that is LeBron just being like, you know what? I took everything else. I'm taking the lead as the GOAT. I'm also taking Space Jam, and I don't know. We'll see. The original was a fun movie. Looking back and watching it, it's
So good.
It's kind of a little out there, but it's really funny movie. And who are they? Where's the Bill Murray coming from? Where like?
Yeah, that's what, like, I'm very interested with the lead of the cast, obviously, but like, I'm looking definitely like some of these other. If it's a complete reboot, like, the whole premise is, the Monstars take power from these other big players. You had like your Charles Barkley and all those guys.
Muggsy Bogues, yeah.
Time. Like, who is going to be, like, who constitutes those players now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
That'll be interesting if they do it that way.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that for sure. There's a lot of things like that, like with the Star Wars stuff, the Marvel stuff, where it could possibly go. And seeing all these TV shows now kind of replacing traditional movie-going experiences. Like you have HBO Max now that is showing all of their movies next year on TV, the streaming service, and also in theater. So I don't know. I love the theater experience, but man, Mandalorian has just The Witcher. Those kind of shows have set me up to where I just want all of this on TV. Right? Let me binge 8 hours. You can tell such a better story in those 8 hours or whatever for a season than you can
in an hour and a half. Yeah.
Exactly. And
100%.
I was actually just reading that the Elder Scrolls is getting a series on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, just recently I was reading that, and that'll be interesting because you don't really have, because Elder Scrolls is always like your character that you make and put in, how they're going to set it up with main characters. Are they going to do Game of Thrones style with like rotating cast? Are they going to have like a specific time period where they're going to focus on one like legend from Elder Scrolls history? I don't know. I love that series though, so I'm between that and the Lord of the Rings show on HBO, it's gonna be kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, and it's like, there was a long stretch of time where you're like, oh, they're making this a TV show, so it's gonna be, Xena Warrior Princess-esque, action sequences, and not like that show was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a difference in what TV and movies were.
The fighting
to a point now where it's like
super
it's
corny.
Not that big of a difference.
Yeah,
like,
no.
The action sequences in The Witcher were like better than action sequences I've seen in movies.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I feel like games like, I know the last season gets a lot of flack, but I'm sorry, movies had outshone TV shows for so long, and then you had something like Game of Thrones come around that showed that medieval style action sequence in a more realistic way than we had ever seen, I think, on TV. With those, even like if you compare the Game of Thrones series to even the old Lord of the Ring movies, those movies are now a little bit dated in the way you see their action sequences, and so now you've got Game of Thrones looking even a little bit better than some of their fight scenes, and so now it's like I really like that in the progression because it just feels like all of this is becoming more viable, and I want all. Like, I know comic book movies, and used to get a bad rap, and then now video game movies got a bad rap, but I want all of different mediums for every game universe that I play, all that kind of good stuff. I want, give me all of it.
Absolutely. And, and that just that little part you brought up, where like comic book movies used to be a joke, and now they're the biggest thing in cinema, like we're definitely going to get to a point where just one person needs to get it right with a video game movie, and then that'll set the tone, and we'll get everything we want. It'll be great.
Yeah.
But and anyone who was upset with Game of Thrones, like honestly, Like that set the tone for everyone. Everyone was scared to throw that kind of money at a TV show to make the money back.
Yep.
And that showed you could. And that's where we're getting so many. Can we swear on this podcast? I don't remember.
Yeah. We'll go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where we're getting so many fucking shows now. It's insane how much content is coming out for television.
No,
well, I guess not television, but streaming shows.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many avenues. Now, the danger is obviously there's all these different streaming services that I feel like eventually some of them are going to go belly up and they'll merge. Like we saw DC tried to have their own, or Warner Brothers tried to have their own. That kind of failed well. Quickly. Yeah, but that's what's going to happen. And then as long as those shows or those ideas get moved onto another platform, it'll probably end up being okay. But man, give me a live action Destiny show. Give me a anime style Dragon Age series. Give me, all kinds of shenanigans.
Get me a Mass Effect show.
Oh,
that can happen.
100%.
That can happen, folks. Easily.
Yeah, and it's something that the sky's the limit, and I'm so excited to see this crossover continue to happen. Like, I know Cyberpunk had its fair share of issues, but tell me you want to watch a TV show starring Keanu Reeves as his character in that game.
My God, absolutely.
So I don't know. It's so great to have these options, and I'm excited for that going forward for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely. I didn't see a lot of really. A lot of games that I was super excited for next year. Maybe some like expansions and stuff, but at least for that medium, like we're going to be spoiled the next year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens gaming wise. I haven't heard of a lot of stuff that's actually happening, or there's a lot of stuff launching, but a lot of it's stuff I've never heard of. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to spend the night and just sit down and look at all this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of games got delayed late in the PS4. Xbox One cycle going into the PS5 Series X, and I feel like if the games didn't release at launch, they might as well push it as far back to avoid the problems like they had with Cyberpunk, to avoid those issues as much as possible. And so I think we're going to see a relatively large gap between the launch titles and then the titles that are really taking advantage of those new systems. So that's why we might not see a lot until next late summer, early fall time period. I know Outriders is coming out. That's one that I'm somewhat interested in. It's not a looter shooter, but it kind of looks a looter shooter-esque. I don't know. That's in February. I know we had talked about this. So this is where we're going to get into a fun conversation. We talked about A New World, which is the Amazon MMO, and how MMOs, you've got looter shooters, looter slashers, whatever the case may be, they come around and they release and they just capture everyone's attention right away with good marketing, with slick intros and trailers and etc. But then the game drops. The campaign is fun. Everyone loves the first 5-10 hours, right? Gameplay feels good. Yeah, gameplay feels good.
There's a lot of side stuff to do, so it makes the world feel fuller.
Exactly. Then you get to the end game, and there's a distinct lack of variety, a lack of challenge, whatever the case may be. There's not enough there for the end game. And that's where those games falter. Absolutely 100%. And what we were talking about is when those games release, right, they don't have the end game quite ready, but they also don't underestimate how many bugs and fixes they're going to need going from launch until the first month or so. So now you've delayed your end game, and then by then the player base is dissipated.
Yeah, if you don't have an end game the second people get to it, half those people are probably already gone.
Exactly.
Like they're like, all right, cool. I did my thing. I feel like I experienced the game, and I'm good.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll see any Destiny challengers. I know that's been something that people have talked about for a long time in the foreseeable future. But I really wonder how like why these games keep releasing. It's probably because of investors and reasons of beyond the developers' heads. But why they keep releasing and underestimating how many problems that they're going to have, because it's happened to basically every game that has replayability, ongoing looter shooter types that's launched, and you wonder at one point are they going to say, okay, we need our end game 100% ready before we launch the title.
Yeah, no, and I think, and that's not just looter shooters. I think honestly, almost every game that's launched in the last 2 years, in some way or another, has gotten something horribly. They're just super out of touch with the gamer, and there's always something that's like completely wrong, or no one wanted to see this,
Yeah.
or nothing's done, or completely, or just unfinished when it launches. Like a lot of games in the last couple of years have launched like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, at some point it's going to be a blowing point, and they're going to have to figure out how to make games again.
Yeah, it's interesting because I am one who has enjoyed my time with Anthem and Avengers and these kind of games. But I'm not blind to the fact that the end game was so lacking in a lot of them, and at some point it's just so repetitive. And I wonder, like, looking at the games in general, you're trying to cater to a wide audience. But at some point, you need to have, like, I've argued this a lot with Destiny, because I'm a huge Destiny guy.
What?
The end game is hard because you want to make it for the top tier player, but also understand, like, 1% of people will complete your prestige raids or your hard mode raids or whatever. And you have to be comfortable developing content for that 1%. Because it's aspirational content. I understand why developers feel like they don't want to invest that time when they could make the game wider. But you could have 100 different activities. But if they all feel the same, if they all give the same amount of loot and are the same amount of challenge, that eventually doesn't matter, right? You don't want your game to be wide. You want it to be tall. You want it to be looking up and seeing, okay, what is the next thing I can achieve that makes me feel good about this game? And a lot of games lack that, and that's, I think, a big part of the problem.
Yeah, well, when you look at something like, I'm a huge World of Warcraft player, and they've been around forever, and so they've had the time to figure out what works and what doesn't. But like their end game, there's so many different versions of their end game that like everyone can be a part of it and get something out of it. And the people that are super hardcore get there first, complete all the main stuff, and they feel satisfied. Everyone else knows they're at a slower pace, but they still are getting fed stuff at a decent rate. I think they've really hit it very well, especially in Shadowlands, their new expansion. Yeah. Making sure everyone feels engaged and a part of the end game, But a lot of games haven't been around for 15 years to figure out or to expand their, expand their processes to make everyone happy. Yeah, that's definitely, I think, one of the biggest like hurdles a gaming company has is figuring out the balance between the 1% and everyone that's going to try it and quit.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to as well. You look at how many players World of Warcraft has, and it's a sub-based game, right? So you have that many paying players continuously. So obviously they have a significant amount of income to continue to create generous amounts of content and upkeep that content.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing. You look at the player base of a game like Destiny, which is already smaller than World of Warcraft. And that's not even accounting if you introduced a subscription fee, that player base is probably going to drop off and dwindle. So there's only
100%.
So you know that going into it, your player base for something like that or Final Fantasy Online, because they're sub-based games, are going to be a more dedicated group, right? So if you're playing those games, you want to do end game stuff. Whereas if you look at something like Destiny, there are a lot of people, I know a lot of people who have never touched a raid. And that is insane to me because that's the best content in the game.
Oh, let me look actually at something. Yeah, it's interesting. One of my favorite things when I was playing on the PlayStation was it shows you like the percentages of people that have done your trophies.
Yeah.
like I kept going back and checking, like, because there was one for Destiny 2 that was like finishing any raid ever, period. It wasn't a specific raid at all.
Yeah.
And it was only like 21% of players.
Yeah.
Even like years after the game launched. Like, yeah.
And the game's gone free to play. It's got, like, you know what I'm saying? You'd think it'd have a lot more people who would try these activities, but it's just not the case. And I've seen people argue, oh, Destiny should have more raids, or more of a raid system like World of Warcraft, and it's just not possible with the way the game is set up and being on console.
Yeah, absolutely.
The game is simultaneously held back by last gen console with regards to what they can do, but also has been hindered by the migration to PC and splitting the player base. And so it's Destiny is the perfect game that tries to do everything, so that way it almost alienates some people because it's so wide and it's unlike
5 different. You got PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Stadia. Is it?
Yep.
So it's 4 different communities basically experiencing the same game in completely different ways.
And eventually crossplay is coming, and that'll be huge. I feel like that's something.
Oh my god, I think that's something that can really can refresh the game.
Yeah,
they can do a lot of stuff once that happens.
And that's something that a lot of games I feel like need to be leaning on for their player bases. There's a big problem people talking about with like Apex Legends or Warzone with skill-based matchmaking, right? But that's lessened to an extent when you have a deeper player pool to choose from. Not only can you have different nodes to choose from, like different limited time modes and that kind of thing, but you can also widen the skill base because you have more people within each skill. So like, I know a lot of people are either 100% pro or 100% against skill-based matchmaking, but I'm a fan of nuance, and I think that there's a level in between that people are missing, that you can have something that can be fun for everybody, but you just need the big enough player base to do so.
100%, because a lot of people just assume that if they see someone in their lobby that's like keyboard mouse, like, well, that guy's gonna shit all over me. I've been a PC gamer for a long time. Trust me, there are a lot of terrible people that play on PC. You're fine, but your point exactly. If you have skill-based matchmaking with a small player base, you look at high-end trials in Destiny. Yeah, you're playing the same people over and over and over again because there's only so many people you can play against on PlayStation or on Xbox or do people do trials on Stadia?
I'm sure.
That sounds terrible. Probably.
Hey, maybe you get to face the same people. If you're better than them, you win every card. So
yeah, that could be. But no, that's a really good point you made. As long as the pool's deeper, like your odds of playing against people at your level or lower are much higher for sure.
It's always funny to me when I see fans of like Destiny or COD or whatever these games, and they're like, bring back this mode and this game type and this map and this thing and this, that, and that. And I'm like, okay, you want 100 different things to click on and options for games, right? But then you're going to be playing the same 20 people over and over again because you've split the player base so much. And I don't feel like a lot of people understand that. And that's eternally frustrating for me when I see the same arguments across games. And you're like, okay, if you have rotating modes, it keeps things fresh. And it allows them to experiment and tinker with them and maybe make it better when it comes back. And there are reasons behind rotating modes and limited amount of playlists to select for sure.
Yeah, because Destiny 1 had a ton of playlists, and all of them, like, I would have had like 9 playlists, and 6 of them were dead.
Yeah. And so Destiny did a funny thing where they had one mode that had skill-based matchmaking and the other one did not. So what?
Oh, that's right.
What inevitably happened is all of the players who were not top tier went to the skill-based matchmaking mode. All the ones who were top tier went to the non-skill-based matchmaking mode.
Skill-based matchmaking.
But guess what ended up happening? Now they've got skill-based matchmaking because they're only matched with the top tier players who are playing that mode. So it worked out exactly as they didn't want it to happen. But that's why you give the option. People are going to play whatever they're more comfortable with. And that's part of the problem. That's why game developers and designers have such a hard time balancing that, because you could have these perfect game modes, but if the players won't play it because of one reason or another, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's my first game of Crucible without skill-based matchmaking put me up against a guy that had like a 7.5 KD, and I got absolutely wrecked. And I was like, "Well, Crucible sucks."
Yeah.
You gotta have a range, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, or at least an option for you to play in that range, because the argument is like, oh, I can't play with different weapons. I have to sweat every match. But if you're not a skilled player, that's what you're doing anyway. So it's like,
exactly,
like you want to play around and have fun, but so does this person over here. And there's no winning for everybody all the time. But at the same time, you could try to balance it to where it's like, okay, give everyone a bit of a chance. So I don't know. I know a lot of people get hyped about skill-based matchmaking, but it's just a topic that I've seen way too often, kind of pointed in different directions. So
most anyone that's playing a shooter of any kind, it happens in Warzone especially. Like, everyone's pulling up a spreadsheet to see what the best gun is, and that's what they use. It doesn't matter. Like you're tryharding anyway. Try hard to get your skill level. Like what?
What ends up happening is, like, I love to experiment. Like if I'm in Crucible and Destiny, if I'm in Warzone, I love to play around. But then I get 3 or 4 matches where it doesn't go my way. I'm not succeeding. You bet I'm jumping right in. Like right now, you best believe I've got the DMR and the MAC-10 in my back pocket, ready to go. When I have a couple games, I only get 2 or 3 kills. Not really feeling it. Someone's camping in a attic, just prone for no reason, just laying there the whole game.
An hour.
The whole game. You look at the kill feed. Not only they kill you, but they killed 3 people before you. There's loot all in front of them because they're just prone. Oh my god, I'm gonna get triggered.
Go lay into it. Do it. Scream.
But at the end of the day, with battle royales, you can't really get rid of campers. It's impossible, right? Yeah. No matter what you do, people are going to play the way they want to play. The key is having counters, and normally, luckily, Warzone has enough counters. The one reason I was excited for the DMR at first, because you know how many times I see the sniper glint and they just hold that for like 10 minutes just waiting for me to peek, and now I can use that DMR, tap, 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 they're dead. Oh,
gone. Dude, I've seen a couple clips. It's just dirty, dude.
Someone just sitting on top of a building, just hard scoped in, and it's like, again, you play the way you want to, but when I see that, there's nothing more satisfying than melting that person and just like dropping a precision or a cluster on them to finish them off, and then they rage, even though they've been sitting on the roof for like 15 minutes. And
it's sorry, I ruined you wasted your 15 minutes of nothing, idiot.
That's exactly right. And it's like I said, you play the way you want to play, but the attic campers and the rooftop campers are my least favorite. And I don't really care for sniping in any game, really. I do have fun with it sometimes. I was playing Apex the other day, and I was sniping. I hit a couple nice ones, and it feels really good. But
oof, yes.
Inevitably, I get bored with it, like quicker than not. And I'm like, all right, I just want to go in, slide around, get in there with an SMG or a shotgun or AR or whatever, and 1v1 me. That's what I want. But
yeah, I'm the same. I'll usually have like a AR and SMG with a sniper rifle as a secondary, because like on the go, like hit a couple snipes, like that feels good.
Yeah.
But just laying on a hilltop the whole time, I think that's partially why the battle royale genre became as popular as it did, because the whole circle closing was a natural stop camping.
Yeah.
You know, people are always going to find a way around it, but at the end of the day, it forces people to move, and I think that's part of why it became as big as it did.
100%, 100%. It's you look at the multiplayer game modes too, and they've honestly gotten a little bit stale with regards to, okay, we're playing 5v5 or 6v6, we're lining up, we're going around the map, you find where you can spawn trap or whatever the case may be, farm kills, all that kind of good stuff, and there hasn't been a lot of innovation with regards to traditional multiplayer. And that's why I've always seen BR as just an extension of that, right? It's its own game mode, but it's really just like a different type of multiplayer game.
Yeah, and, I agree wholeheartedly.
The funniest part has always been to me, folks who are like, oh, I can't wait for the BR genre to die. And I've always said, I said this from Fortnite Season 3, when people would say this, and I'll reiterate it every time. The BR is here to stay. It's a game mode that's just like multiplayer. Now, it'll go through different iterations. Like, you'll see the smaller maps, smaller circles, faster paced. You'll see bigger maps. Like, you saw Warzone was kind of revolutionary with the 150, and then bigger map and UAVs and stuff like that.
All the vehicles. Oh, yeah. The kills, or not kill streaks, but having the... being able to buy, UAVs and airstrikes,
buying loadout,
anti-UAVs, all that, like having that in the BR setup. Oh my God, yeah, that was revolutionary for sure.
Yeah,
and you're just gonna keep. I mean, Apex when it launched was completely the pacing, how looting worked, the shields, the reviving, bringing people back after they're gone. Yeah, Apex is the first one to do that.
Yep, huge. And that's something that you don't think about, those little changes that make all the difference to like you said, the pacing of the game. Like right now, I found Apex a little stale lately, personally, because of it either you're the second circle and there's five people left.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. I've definitely had that issue.
Or you've got everybody and everyone's just spread out on the map, just like sitting, I've seen that way too often lately on Apex, and that's kind of like there's no. In Warzone, I know I can go get a bounty, I can go get a UAV, I can go find the next fight, regardless of how many people are left on the map. I can take a car, cross the map, and go find it. That doesn't happen in Apex, and I think that's the one thing that's missing, either more people on the map or just a way to allow for more people. Maybe they do the jailbreak thing that Warzone has, something like that.
Yeah, jailbreak was awesome. And that's something we've seen a lot doing, jumping team to team in these Apex tournaments, is like they'll either drop, they're in the middle of everybody, and if you come out on top, you got a ton of kills. But there's a lot of times they'll hot drop and no one happens to land there.
Yep.
And like first circle doesn't even close and there's only 10 people left.
Yep.
They're like, well, I'm here to get kills and 60 people are already dead. They just happen to not be here. Like, it's just, and it's so, like, anything goes every game. You could either have everybody or no one every single game. It's just, I definitely think they need to increase the player count in Apex, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially with the, because Apex is crossplay now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no reason not to have it a bigger player base. I don't know, maybe the netcode won't allow it, but yeah, there's just way too many times you have nobody to kill. You're just running around for 10 minutes going, well, I'm not in the... Because every gamer knows. This is a saying we have in any BR. If we haven't seen anyone in 10 minutes, we know we're going to die. Because you're not... If you're going fight to fight to fight to fight, you're in the zone, and your reaction time is up. Yep. If you've been running around nonchalantly looting, getting nothing for 10 minutes, whoever jumps on you, you're probably going to die because you're not ready to go. And that just happens a lot to me in Apex.
Yeah,
just a lot of lull time.
Not to mention, you've looted the other players who have brought you loot. You looting by yourself is one thing, but now you've got 3 teams who you've now looted. You got higher shield. Your shield, like now with the shields that charge up as you get more damage as well. Now your blue shields versus red shields, you got no shot. I agree with that 100%. I think. I'm a day one Apex player. I think it's absolutely a revolutionary BR. I still enjoy playing it from time to time, but...
And it's free.
It's free. Yeah, you can't really beat free. But overall, I do wish there would be more drastic changes when it comes to the base game. The new map was interesting. I liked the new map when it came out. But even that, and they did introduce vehicles. But
the vehicles are okay.
It just hasn't been enough.
Yeah.
To make the game as exciting consistently. I don't play a lot of Fortnite, except for with my kids sometimes. But I was watching some Fortnite streams of some people I know, and it was the same exact thing. They went to the hot drop, they got some kills, but then they looked around and there was 10 people left at the end of the first circle, and I'm like, what are you supposed to do now? Just wander around for 10 minutes looking for people?
It's a huge map.
Yeah. Not only that, but
I think
no recon, no bounty, no UAV, nothing like that. It's just hard to find the next fight, and it's just kind of long periods of boredom.
Yeah. And tell me your thoughts on this, actually, since we're talking about BRs right now. So me and my friends have had this discussion many times on the fact that I don't think there should be a free battle royale. And hear me out. So a battle royale launches, it's free. Everyone jumps in it. Everyone loves it from the get-go. Oh, wow, there's these new characters, all these guns I've never heard of. This is awesome. As people play, they start to realize the netcode's not great. And that sucks in a shooter. But all the money going into the game is based off sales of skins, the battle pass, stuff like that. So if they want to make money off their game, they just keep pumping out skins and stuff for you to buy.
Yeah.
But shooters where you have to pay to play, they need people to keep buying it to play. And so they have to make the game better. And Battlefield's redone its netcode almost every single launch, you know?
Yeah.
And Apex has proven to have the worst netcode of any battle royale on the market to date. You can look that up. That's a true fact. I think it being like it gets everyone involved, and the player base is huge for it being free. I don't think it should be a free game.
I can definitely see it. So the hard parts are twofold, right? One, because every BR so far has been free, or most of them, right? It's mostly. that precedent is hard to undo, and I feel like
I agree.
These developers are obviously terrified that they're going to launch a BR, it's going to cost money, and it's just going to flop. You look at a recent game that came out, Rocket Arena. That's not a BR, but it's a arena shooter, basically. Silly premise. Everyone has rockets, but it was $30, right? And it kind of it flopped completely. It was free on PlayStation recently, and the player base ticked up. People are playing it, and this is not a terrible game. But nobody knew that because everyone was afraid to buy it because all the games that they want to play are free.
Yeah.
And even like shooters, like you got Rogue Company and stuff like that are free, and it's hard to really go against that and understand that, okay, at some point we need to just bite the bullet and improve our netcode with the funds that we're generating, and even if the game is free, you know what I'm saying? But the second problem that I could definitely see is that I don't know how much you charge for a strictly BR game, right?
Yeah, and I agree, because it cannot be a $60 game for sure.
And that's, I think, part of the problem. I think the Battle Pass idea is good, but if you need to improve your netcode, increase the Battle Pass by $2 per person in order to fund that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that. Increase every skin by $1 above what you normally make. You know, and put that money into the netcode or whatever you need to do to make the game more functional. Because at the end of the day, people will still play the game. Like, people will fall in love with it. People are still going to play it. You'll still have a loyal fan base. But if you want to get lapsed players to come back, fundamental changes are often needed. And that's something that we don't see often enough with the Battle Royales. Everyone focuses on, excitement of a new map. Great. That lasts a month, if that. Once that excitement is gone, you're left with the same issues that you had before the new map launched. Unless the map is fundamentally changes the way that you play the game. Like if the map funnels people in a direction that, okay, we've limited where folks are going to be, like not everyone's going to land in the same spot and die right away, but that's almost impossible unless the loot is so heavy. Like, I don't know. I don't know what those options are, but I agree I agree with your premise. I don't know how it's instituted functionally at this point,
no,
especially
100%. And that's the reason for it being like, we've had this constant conversation because we can't, and I'm sure, I mean, we're not paid to figure it out, so I'm sure someone paid to figure it out could. But yeah, we've had this conversation a ton.
Yeah.
Like how do you do this right? Because if I see a free game and it has a battle pass and an item shop, chances are there's stuff very wrong in game because all the money's being put into that because they're making, and they're making games to make money, 100%. But
well,
it's like what was it? Hyperscape could have been a great thing, and I haven't heard about it. I played it for a month, and I haven't heard about it since.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I enjoyed, but it just didn't feel as good as it felt like Apex, but not as crispy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I melt somebody in Apex, the guns just feel really good. The abilities feel really good.
When you got a win in Hyperscape, it didn't like every time I got a win, it was like, oh, it's over, because it like there was no music cue.
Yep.
Nothing changed. It was just like a countdown, and it said victory on the screen. That's it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's over with.
Well,
like you want that hype moment from a BR.
Exactly. That's what I liked about Spellbreak. I played Spellbreak a lot, and it's a game that I'll dip back into every now and again because it feels very different from a lot of the BRs I play. Which is nice. But Hyperscape, man, something just so they focused a lot on the streamer to viewer interaction.
Yeah, which was really cool, but I think they put, like you said, they put too much focus there.
Yeah, and again, the gunplay just didn't feel as good as I wanted to. Will I give it another shot if they improve some things? Of course. I feel like
absolutely.
That's the benefit of a free-to-play game is that one major turnaround and it could be right back. You know what I'm saying? But that's not easy to do, especially once you've lapsed players. And they also put a lot of Hyperscape, a lot of marketing into paying big-name streamers to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that idea in general, but also I feel like some of the people they got to play it were not Hyperscape.
Weren't the right people.
Yeah. Like they should have.
The other interesting thing is you look at some of these BRs when they hire people to play them. Is I'll pay attention to who keeps playing once they're done being paid for it.
Yep.
Like Warzone, like almost 80% of the people that were paid to play it, like still play it.
Yep.
Hyperscape, the day after that contract ended,
I
didn't see a single name I recognized in that directory.
Yeah. Now that's a big problem because it means the people who play games a lot are not playing that. That's not in their rotation, and that's a major problem. Now it's good for some folks because if you're a dedicated player, sometimes you can rise up in the directory, but it does lead to some, like, it just shows you that the top end people understand that there's some issues with that. That was like that Amazon game Crucible that launched and
that was great. I really enjoyed that game.
Oh my,
I was really bummed when that disappeared.
It was
like a ton of fun.
A lot of fun. But
it was great.
A lot of the people who got paid to stream it had a lot of issues. Like I was watching some streams of it, and they just look like they're constant disconnects, constant problems. So what it looked like is after the first couple games, one, it was a little confusing, I think, for some people, because there was so much going on, which I like. I like throwing a lot of things at you. Oh, you got regular enemies, you've got non-player character enemies, all that kind of stuff. Like everything's going on all at one time. That's why I like Gambit and Destiny. But at the same time, it just I guess there were some fundamental problems that it had. I don't know. I didn't play it, but I was definitely bummed to see it shut down because I felt like there was a lot of potential. So
Yeah, that was a great, and I think that was another one of those where, like you brought with Hyperscape, like they just paid the big names to play it instead of figuring out who actually would. It was all the people that wouldn't enjoy it out of the gate were the ones playing it.
Yeah, and not only
Paid to
that,
play.
but the players who wouldn't be great at it. Like if you want not only the biggest names, but I feel like you want super skilled players, like a balance, right? Like very entertaining people and also super skilled to show off the skill gap, what you can do if you master the game, what you can do if you hit all your shots, blah blah blah. And I feel like that's sometimes.
How many times have you been cruising through YouTube and like found a montage, and that made you want to go play the game?
Yeah, not all the time. It's so great. Kind of last thing, touching on the battle passes. You haven't played Genshin Impact, really, have you?
Not for a little bit, but I played a lot when it first launched.
Okay. That's a game, I talked about this last week. That's a game that I think, if we look at long term, is going to be a game changer. And the reason for that is it's a free to play RPG game, right? It doesn't have the end game that I feel like should necessitate it being popular long term.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I stopped playing once I realized the end game part. But everything else was fantastic.
The co-op could be better as well. Like the co-op is definitely lacking, and I feel like the one place, like if they were to improve that overall, if I could go in and do everything 4 players with my buds, just like I do it solo, that would be the biggest change I would love to see. However, they have made rapid changes and released content very quickly. And that's been one of the things that I've been very interested to see, because I've kind of stayed up to it. I like to post YouTube videos on the game because I'm still enjoying it when I dive in for a couple days after the new content is released. And they've made like fundamental changes that have really helped. Like their limited time events don't cost a resin anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I spent $25 total, 2 battle passes and 1 like little welcoming bonus to get extra primo gems. But I have 5-star characters, I have 5-star weapon. So if you just play the game over the course of time, you'll get all of that good stuff. I have a team that I really enjoy using, even if they're not like the meta team. And it's just the story and the voice acting has been way better than I expected. And it's all the characters feel so different, and it kind of like sprinkles in different characters along your path, you know? But that's a game.
Do you play it in English?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I just I tried it in Japanese, but I also like sometimes will watch videos of it in Japanese if I want the voice acting. When I'm playing it, normally I'm doing it for like a video or something like that. So I'd rather it be in English and not confuse the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, the Japanese version bugged me for some reason. I ended up playing it in Korean.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that, but
okay.
Yeah, for some reason I can't remember whose voice it was, but in English I was like, I'm not going to handle this. I cannot stand their voice.
It might have.
I can't remember who it was.
Hopefully it wasn't Paimon, because she's everywhere.
No, Paimon is everywhere. I don't think it was her, but it was someone. The second I switched to Korean, I was like, all right, this is good.
It's just been so interesting because it's the first like hybrid console PC / mobile game that we've seen, and the gacha can be intimidating, but I feel like after the changes, like where it is now, like I feel like you have to be compelled to play it as a gacha game, which is kind of crazy considering it's free and how much money they've made. You know, like
it's a shit ton.
When I play games on mobile, oftentimes you get to a point where there's a hard stop. And at first, Genshin felt like that. Like there was like, okay, you only get so much resin per day, blah, blah, blah. But now, with some of the changes they made, I don't feel like that at all. And that's cool. That's been pretty interesting for me. I do wish that there was another end game besides like the dungeon that they have that's solo.
Yeah, I think definitely having like, I think maybe a bigger party size and more like those world bosses would have been huge for it.
Yeah,
and a loot pool. But
yeah,
the thing I really liked about that game was it was a great like. I didn't stream it a ton, but it was a really good, like, I'm dead tired and I'm just going to log in and run a direction on the map and a lot of stuff's just going to happen.
Yeah. No,
And I'm going to earn stuff from it too. Like, you can just do anything. It's great.
I do stream it sometimes, but it's definitely more of a YouTube game for me personally, because I feel like I can just chill and do the things, and it's like, oh, I'm doing the brand new thing. Oh, I want to show off my team that I'm currently running. I want to show off the new story that happened, blah blah blah. And it's so interesting because Battle Pass games in general get a bad rap, and so do gacha games. But man, if you can control yourself with that one, it feels like a lot of fun. So I've really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that one took everyone out of nowhere. I remember when that launched and everyone's like, "Oh, this is I don't know. I'll check it. It's my life now."
Yeah.
For like a month after it launched, nobody played anything but that. Even all the big names, like you would not expect them to be playing this game. Like that's all they streamed. It was so cool.
Yeah, I feel like it would have stayed relevant longer again if the co-op was better. Because
I definitely agree.
The potential of playing Waifu Senpai with your friends in that game, unlimited.
Yeah. Well, then the fact, because you had to be like level 15 before you could even do co-op, right?
Yeah. It was very grindy to get to that point. But I can kind of see that. I understand like introducing. I feel like level 10 would have probably been perfect, but
yeah, I think that's a good. You have a basic understanding of the game. You're at a point where it makes sense to be co-op. Yeah, I can see
more
that.
exciting than that is the fact that this kind of. I wonder how much potential there is for other games like this that just have those improvements. Like if this game was like this with an end game, and better co-op, I would pay $60 for it.
Yeah.
Like how much content there was in between the story, the world, like how big the map is, the ongoing, like they're releasing all this ongoing stuff. If they had done that, and end game and co-op was better, that would have been fantastic game for me. I would have played it. I would still probably be playing it for many hours a week, even though I play it just a little bit now.
That's awesome, man.
But it's funny because I enjoy MMOs to a point, but I feel like it's all about how well it works with your squad.
Yeah.
Like,
if you don't have a good group running with you, it can be, because there's, I mean, Destiny also, like, I guess that's technically an MMO too, but there's any game with a ton of grind. If you can't do that grind with a friend, giggity, it gets stale, like, if you don't have the right group of people to do the same, because a lot of it's doing the same content over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good group to, like, I don't know, converse or play Sean Connery karaoke with, like, it's over.
Yeah, that's what'll be interesting for me is like when Diablo 4 comes out, will that have crossplay?
I think I would
hope so too. There's
it has to, right?
I would think so. If it has crossplay, it's perfect.
Yeah. Because that's not really a game where not being crossplay would benefit it at all.
Exactly.
Like it's not like a shooter, but even shooters are crossplay. Like I can't think of any reason why it would benefit to not be crossplay. It has to be.
There's also a Magic the Gathering game, Diablo-like game coming out at some point that I heard was having some issues, but that's another one I would try with friends. I was huge into Magic back in the day, and I feel like we kicked off the podcast saying, like, you give me more avenues to approach these universe, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, whatever the case may be, with TV, games, books, etc. You throw more of that at me, the more the better.
Oh yeah. I just looked it up. Blizzard confirmed it's working towards Diablo 4 crossplay, so it must be someone needs to play ball with them or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is one of their goals for release, is for it to be crossplay.
I sure hope so,
which
man.
Is awesome.
That'd be dope. I would play.
I want to play it with you.
Absolutely 100% we'd play it. I was late to the party with Diablo 3, but I really enjoyed it when I did finally hop in. So I'm excited to hit a game like that fresh. I haven't. What's the other one that's out now that they're still updating? That a second one is coming out soon. It's kind of like Diablo, but I think it's free to play.
What?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
I don't remember. I'm trying to think of what it was. It might not have been free, but I know. Yeah, I can't remember now. But those types of games.
It starts. You're thinking of Minecraft Dungeons, are you?
No. It starts.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm looking it up.
I know. I'm trying to figure it out too.
No. It's all good. But those are the types of games that you definitely need a squad for, and I don't.
Yeah.
Not always having a squad hurts me so much, and that's like where crossplay will come in. Because I primarily play on console, even though that I feel like that holds me back a little bit. But Path of Exile.
They're making a Path of Exile. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're making a second one.
2? Google, tell me. Yes. Path of Exile won't launch 2020. Yeah, that's coming out. Yeah, soon.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something to be excited for.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one too. I just, like I said, I didn't have a crew, and I jumped in late. And I feel like those games, man, if you jump in late, especially as somebody who streams and creates content, I feel like jumping in late, you're so far behind. I don't want anybody to carry me through the content. I want to explore it myself. So like when I do play with friends, they're like, "Here, I'll just clear all the mobs for you, and you can just wander through.
Just loot."
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to play the game. So
and also when you're streaming a game like this, like, and you're coming in behind, that's when all the backseat gamers come in.
Oh,
like,
100%.
There'll be games where I'm like, I want to try it, and I have no idea. The community is just a ton of people that come in and go, "You're doing this wrong. Hey, you suck. Hey, what are you doing? No, turn left. No, you should be using this class. No." It's like, fuck. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
No, I've had that happen. Although when I played, the game that I had the most luck with was ESO. I had the nicest people in that game.
Yeah, that's a good community.
It was crazy. Like, everyone was coming in, "Hey, if you need help, just ask." Blah blah blah. They didn't say I was doing anything wrong. They were just like, I was like, "Hey, how do I get the end game?" They're like, "Just play the game and enjoy it for yourself. And if you come to end game at some," I was like, "Whoa, okay." I kind of like that, but I also want to do hard shit and raids and stuff. And they're like, "Yeah, you'll get the revenge." I was like, all right, come on.
Let's work with me. Let's work with me. The entire community can't be casual, can they? Come on.
No. But I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to more games like that. I feel like the more crossplay we have, the better gaming will be in general. And I just want more co-op cross-play experiences with all my buds. That's all I'm asking for
100%.
2021. So
yeah, I think we're going to get, because 2020 showed us the very end of last year, and then part of this year we've gotten a lot more accustomed to cross-play stuff. Yeah. So I think 2021 moving on, I think it's gonna be like game and play with your friends. Like, it doesn't matter where they are, we're all just gaming, and that's what we've been striving for like 70 years.
Yeah.
It's
finally,
and here we are. We're finally here. Yeah. What a time to be a gamer, my man.
It gives me goosebumps. Yeah,
we're looking for a word that works for the situation that I'm trying to figure out for you to then say it out loud on this podcast.
Oh, are you trying to
spoiled?
Get spoiled?
How did I not think of the word spoiled? F me sideways and call me a pretty.
Will
pony.
Do.
Thank you. Yeah,
at some point.
Spoiled.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like that's every time I see folks complaining endlessly about games online, that's what kind of triggers me the most. I'm like, we have so much potential for greatness right now with all the games at our fingertips, and you choose to play the game that apparently you hate because all you do is complain about it the whole time.
You woke up today and chose to be a little bitch.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. And it's so frustrating because my mute and block lists on Twitter are hella long because of that.
Yeah.
But like every time I see it, I'm just like, why? Like, oh, I'm not enjoying this right now. So play one of 1,000 different games. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's why me
literally,
and Jopa play 100 games. If we're not enjoying something for a second, we're like, okay, cool. And then we go back to it in a rotation, and it feels good again.
I have 265 games in my library on PlayStation right now. A lot of them, 115 of those were free from PS Plus. Not really free because I pay for that, but you get what I'm saying. If I ever get bored, I'll just dip into the backlog and say, hey, what game have I not played in forever that I miss? Or what game that did I never play that I need to jump back into or jump into in the first place? I don't know. I guess I can't be bothered playing something I don't enjoy. Destiny is a perfect example because I play it 1 to 2 days a week and I always have fun with what I play. I normally do it with buds. If not, I'm doing shenanigans. Guns that are off meta, something silly, you know. But besides that, I'm chilling. So I just wish more people could do that and not like stress about it.
And sadly, that's part of being spoiled. You know, some people take being spoiled as like, oh, cool. There's just so many options. I'm going to enjoy them as I go. And some people take spoiled as like, I can go somewhere else. So you need to make yours better for me because I can take my business elsewhere.
Yeah. So
and it's and that's the sad thing is it's just two different types of gamers, and all these companies have to try to deal with it.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely crazy, and I know it'll never change, but it'll always irk me. So.
Yep. It definitely irks me. How people can wake up and be like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna live my life. That sounds like a fun thing to do.
No, exactly. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on before?
Jesus, man, I don't. We talked really fast and probably went through about 35 different things today.
That's what we do. We're variety people awesome. With everything. Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun.
And we flawlessly flew through everything. Yeah. Just moved to okay, we're on a new thing. Go. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being my first guest. I would not have had anybody else on. You are the man.
Oh, brother. You inspire me to be a better person.
We are going to intertwine beards one day. And again, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, look out for JoPaWrites.
Didn't quite roll off the tongue, but it was close enough.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. JoPaWrites. ElmmerFuddGames. I don't know.
We'll work on that name off podcast. But where can everybody find you? What are your socials?
You can find me Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all those places at ElmmerFuddGames. MMD.
TikTok famous as well, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there a little bit. So I'm JoPaWrites. You can find me JoPaWrites on all platforms. I am very simple, very easy, as Elmer knows. And I appreciate everybody hanging out, stopping by, enjoying the podcast, getting a little sexy time in tonight. So I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, all that kind of stuff on your favorite platform. And I hope you have a great night. Have a happy new year. And I'll catch y'all later.